Hello, people. You're welcome back to my channel. It is your one and only Lady Jackson, bringing you all the gossip around Big Brother Naija Reunion Season 7, Level Up Season, as to a day hard. So, of course, we've been waiting for an update on what's going to be happening on today. You know, we experienced the first week, first 5 days of crazy, and today is the day 6, and I must tell you, it is the triangles, the shipwrecks, the betrayals, and even far much more. And it's so disappointing that it's people you expect more from that you get to hear terrible narratives about. So Adekunle started by asking questions. Now, there was a short conversation that had to do with, Phyna, Eloswags, and Chomzy, and it was all pointing at the fact that, during the first or second, the second week, how Phyna was trying to strategize her own game and all that happened. Like, was that thing a thing of trouble or something that, wasn't really considered any trouble? And the question was, why was Phyna having a conversation with other people that, Eloswags liked someone and they were not telling her, oh, that other girl and the 9 yards and everything that happened? It turns out, according to Phyna, because at some point, Ebuka kept asking Phyna to talk and she didn't talk. Now, with the way they were dressed, I feel this was the day 2. This was the day 2. That was the time Phyna had that issue where she was blasting Amaka last week, that she was dragged. Now, of course, she was now saying, I think after that day 2 or something, she had calmed down and she was now saying, Ebuka, what you've watched in that video is what it is. So there's nothing different, until Ebuka had to address all of them, saying that, you know what, this is a show. You guys have finished the show. We know that you now have better egos, lifted shoulders and every other thing, but the fun of this reunion is the fact that you owe nobody an apology. You need to just bear your heart out and say your truth and let everything just die down. And then, Phyna was saying that what really happened in that video, she was just trying to find out where Eloswags' heart was, because she had told him that she liked him, and he told her that, you know what, give me a week to decide, because there's another lady in the house that I really like, and I want to see if it will kick off with her or not. And Phyna kept asking questions of, who is that lady? I'd like to know her. I'd like to know if anything is up. And even her friend, her roommate, didn't tell her, although her friend, that is Rachel, I suspect it was Rachel or Amaka, one of them, were friends with Chomzy, and they didn't tell her until later that they were having a conversation she discovered. Now, Ebuka asked Chomzy, like, really, what did you think about this whole situation? Chomzy said that, you know what, I feel that Eloswags didn't play right. He was not really cool to have been stalling her instead of just telling her outright that, you know what, this is the person I was into, even though she didn't know initially. And that's how they ended that. But of course, what we're expecting is what really happened between Alison and Adekunle, which was supposed to be a good ship, and then the introduction of Hermes and then Doyin into the whole picture. And it's sad how it went. So Ebuka was, talking to Adekunle, asking him, like, what really happened? People from the beginning of the show, people expecting that the storyline was going to be Alison and Adekunle, and then of course there was Hermes and everything. So what really happened? And then Adekunle started by saying, you know what, initially I noticed that Hermes and Alison were getting together, and then I had to, get to talk to him as per guys, since I was having interest in Alison. And then, he told me that Hermes spoke to Alison and she rejected him. She said no to whatever, he was proposing, if they should go and, grow a relationship and stuff. And then, Adekunle decided to pursue it, but then it really didn't happen because a lot of things happened. And then, of course, before Adekunle could even say what are the things that happened, Ebuka moved to Alison and was asking, okay, between Adekunle and Hermes, what was it? What was up? And she said, well, when she first saw Hermes, she was attracted to him because, she's normally attracted to people who are different. And he was way different from every other guy. And it was something that was attractive. And she, wanted to see if she could explore it. And then, when it comes to Adekunle, he was a good guy. He was cool. He was smart. He was attractive. But there was just this thing that she couldn't pin her hands onto. She doesn't know the words she could use, but it was like he was just like a snake. Yes, she called him someone who acted like a snake, and she really is someone who cannot vibe with that kind of energy. He was too cunning with people and everyone that it got to the point that he would go around bringing people's gist to her, just making them look bad. Like, for example, he brought to her saying, oh, why are you friends with Doyin? Doyin is really a bad person. She said nasty things about you and stuff. And she's the kind of person that would have preferred to find out for herself and not somebody she really she is attracted to now be spoiling the friendship she was growing with Doyin, because her and Doyin were really in good terms. And then, of course, Ebuka moved from there to now ask Doyin, like, really, what was up? Because obviously, Alison said that attitude turned her off. She was disappointed. She was disgusted because she doesn't understand why somebody who is that smart would not let people like him for being smart. Instead, he would just try to be such a player in a very disgusting manner. And then when Ebuka had to ask Doyin, like, what was up? Doyin said she is so disappointed even sitting in this place with him right now, because he is a very trifling human being. He likes to go around, plant his stripes in the hearts of different people just to make himself be the good one while every other person is the bad one. Because she had met him at Adekunle to ask him, like, what problem do you necessarily have with me? But he could not necessarily say what was her problem, what was his problem with Doyin. And that was something that really disgusted her. For someone so smart, he's a trifling human being, he's a liar, he's disgusting, and all the 9 yards. And then Ebuka had to face Adekunle again and ask him, like, what was the issue? Why would you, it was now a popular narrative with all the housemates going around saying that you are a cunning human being, you're like a snake, you like planting bad seeds in the hearts of people about other people. And he said that, all these things started because why would everybody want to make it look like he's the one who was doing it? Everybody was doing it, but it became more painful to him that he needed to do it back, because there were scenarios where he would be in the same space, but others wouldn't know. He would be under the duvet and Doyin would be gossiping about him, saying nasty things about him, other people doing the same. And that was why it was all like that for him. And I'm like, what the hell? How did it get to this point? I expected and thought that, let's be honest, when the show started, Adekunle was one of the guys we all could just easily be like, oh yes, we have somebody that could be, different from other people. But no, it didn't give that. It really didn't give that. To see how Doyin, who was the first person to apologize on this reunion, who tries to avoid issues with anybody, to outrightly call Adekunle trifling, disgusting. She even said he is a shame for being a man. Like, he should be ashamed of himself. He is ashamed to the manhood and everything. Like, she was just going all out at this guy. And I'm shocked that even all the housemates, nobody could defend him. Unlike when we see that Bella will be defending Sheggz. Of course, we know they have a thing together. We see other people like, was it Rachel and Chomzy defending each other against another person, because we could see that there was at least 1 or 2 people who believed and trusted what the other person was saying that they were defending. But when it came to Adekunle, from the first day with the issue with Bella and Sheggz, people were against him. From the other one with so and so, people were against him. And now Hermes could not even defend him. It is that bad that these 2 girls and every other housemate will look and sit and just watch you being torn to shreds. And the nasty things they were saying about him, I was really disappointed. But then I wouldn't go blaming Adekunle, because every other housemate was trying to play their own game, including Doyin, who was feeling like a saint, because I don't understand. She was doing too much, especially when she started saying that, Adekunle's mother should be ashamed, or he should apologize to his mother for, wasting the home training she spent on him. I'm like, how? Why would you do? There are boundaries you don't cross, girl, and you're crossing it like Phyna. I hope she get dragged, but of course, she wasn't as deep or intense as Phyna. Either ways, I understood Adekunle more when he now explained how he just noticed that people who were close to him became the people who were backstabbing him, who were nominating him and stuff. And I just don't understand. At some point, it started feeling like it was a gang up against him, because Ibuka now had to ask, then Dotun interfered, saying that, you know what, Adekunle should stop talking the way he's talking. It's as though he's just being cunning because, like he said, the girls were having they were having like a hangover, so they could not remember, blah 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 blah, and that all the naija she just agree with his fault and stuff. I'm like, yes, Adekunle is actually agreeing to his fault and then pointing out the other person's own. So why are you coming for him? I was actually disappointed where Ibuka had to ask Sheggz on his point of view. There's no way you're going to ask somebody their point of view on someone whom they're having issues or grudges with. Because as expected, Sheggz now said, you know what, I expected that, you know, Adekunle would just own up to his shit like a guy that he is, blah, 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 blah. I was getting tired of it, actually. But it ain't my fault. It's not my problem. Anything they want to do, they should do. They're not big boys and big girls. Anyways, that's all I have for you for tonight. And of course, I'm going to see you on the next one.